The trading post on Station Zareth 7 reeked of desperation and greed. Warrior Lena moved through the crowds with practiced ease. Her 4 arms crossed in pairs, her crimson scales catching the harsh fluorescent lighting. As a decorated officer of the Valkorian Empire, she had seen countless worlds, fought in dozens of campaigns, but nothing had prepared her for what she was about to witness. The auction hall hummed with the chatter of 100 different species. Traders hawked their wares: exotic spices, rare minerals, salvaged technology from dead civilizations. But Lena wasn't here for any of that. She was here because of a rumor, a whisper, that had reached her ears 3 systems away. Humans were being sold. Lena, Mon Excessive, that's Proffers, and Lidifon. The Galactic Council had declared Earth a protected world after the humans had nearly wiped themselves out in their Third World War. First, contact protocols were strict. Humans were to be left alone, observed from a distance, given time to mature as a species. Yet here, in the lawless fringe of known space, someone was trafficking them. Lena's mandibles clicked in disgust as she approached the holding area. A crowd had gathered around a reinforced cage, and she pushed her way through, using her size and military bearing to clear a path. Inside the cage sat a human male. He was young, perhaps in his mid-20s by human standards. Dark hair fell across his eyes, which burned with defiance despite the restraints around his wrists and ankles. His body bore the marks of abuse, bruises, cuts, signs of malnutrition. Yet he sat straight-backed, chin raised, every inch of him radiating a fierce, unbroken spirit. Lot 47. The auctioneer droned, a slug-like Hootarian with too many eyes. 1 human male, designation Kale, healthy stock, good for labor, or entertainment. The crowd laughed, a sickening sound that made Lena's blood boil. Bidding starts at 5,000 credits. 5,000? A Zenthari trader near Lena spat on the ground, his reptilian features twisted in contempt. For that worthless savage? I wouldn't pay 500. The human KL turned his gaze toward the trader. Even through the cage, even beaten and bound, his eyes held such intensity that the Zenthari took an involuntary step back. 10,000, someone called out. 12, another voice added. Lena's heart pounded in her chest. She had authority here, could shut this whole operation down with a single call to her ship. But that would take time. Forms would need to be filed. The traders would scatter, set up shop elsewhere. No. This ended now. Worthless savage. The Zenthari trader spat again. Louder this time. Emboldened by the crowd, he moved closer to the cage, sneering. Look at it. Barely sentient. No claws, no natural armor, no venom. What kind of species evolves so weak? Kale's jaw tightened, but he said nothing. His eyes never left the trader's face. Something in Lena snapped. She had read the classified files on humanity. She knew what the council feared, what they kept hidden from the general population. Humans weren't weak. They were terrifying. Persistence hunters who could track prey for days. Endurance runners who could outlast any predator. A species that had climbed from prey to apex predator on a death world. A planet so hostile that its very existence defied probability. And more than that, they were pack bonders. Loyal beyond reason. Fierce beyond measure when protecting their own. Lena had spent 3 cycles studying human culture, human history, human potential. She had watched their primitive broadcasts, read their literature, analyzed their wars. She had seen what they were capable of when pushed. And she had made a decision, one that her fellow Valkorians would call madness. She had chosen him. Before the auctioneer could call for more bids, Lena moved. Her fist, powered by the enhanced musculature of a Valkorian warrior, struck the cage door with the force of a battering ram. The reinforced metal shrieked, buckled, and shattered. Pieces of the lock scattered across the floor like shrapnel. The auction hall fell silent. "That's savage," Lena said, her voice carrying through the chamber with absolute authority. "Is my future mate." The declaration sent shockwaves through the crowd. A Valkorian warrior claiming a human? Impossible. Insane. Their species weren't even compatible for... But Lena didn't care about biology. She cared about honor, about potential, about the future she had glimpsed in her strategic simulations. The future where humanity rose to take its place among the stars. And those who had allied with them early would reap the rewards. More than that, she cared about the male in the cage, who despite everything still fought, still refused to break. She stepped through the ruined door and knelt before Kale. Up close, she could see the intelligence in his eyes. The calculation. He was assessing her, determining if she was just another threat. "I am Warrior Lena of House Tharkus," she said softly, speaking in Standard Galactic, knowing the translation implant in his neck would convey the meaning. "I offer you freedom. I offer you sanctuary. And I offer you a choice: come with me, or I will ensure you are returned to your homeworld." Kale stared at her for a long moment. Then, his cracked lips curved into the smallest smile. "Freedom sounds good," he said, his voice hoarse but strong. "But I want more than that. I want payback." Lena's mandibles spread in what humans would recognize as a grin. "Then we understand each other perfectly." She broke his restraints with her bare hands and helped him stand. The crowd parted before them, none daring to challenge a Valkorian warrior in full fury. As they walked out of the auction hall together, Kale spoke again. "You called me your future mate." "I did." "Why?" Lena glanced at him. At this human, who had endured hell and emerged unbroken. "Because I have seen what your species will become, and I want to stand beside you when it happens." Kale nodded slowly, and together they stepped into the station's corridor, toward a future neither could fully imagine but both were willing to fight for.